Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address for Week 18. And this is the last week I'll be doing this show until the start of next season. We will not be doing this during the playoffs. But if you want to hear some of my playoff thoughts, check out WagerTalk today, noon Eastern, Monday to Friday on WagerTalk TV. There's only one part this week. Listen, this is a really tough betting week in the NFL, Week 18. A lot of teams are out of it, and a lot of teams are in must-win situations. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But I was unable to find more than 4 picks to give out. So I've got 4 side bets for you guys on this video. And we're going to start right off the bat with Pittsburgh at -3.5 to -4. What a great win by Pittsburgh against Seattle, and now they are in position to make the playoffs. They are playing a Ravens team who will likely sit most of their key starters, and what a perfect opportunity in front of the Steelers. So with that said, what a great spot to bet Baltimore, and they don't even need to win this game. They just need to keep this game within a field goal, which I think they can. Not only that, but I actually think they have a good chance to win this game. Let's stop for a second right there before we continue on this game. I just want to make mention that a lot of teams are in a must-win situation this week, and that not only is already baked into the line, as Teddy says, there's a tax when betting must-win teams, but in every sport all the time, teams in must-win positions are not great bets. Firstly, they're in a must-win position because they're mediocre. And secondly, must-win puts a ton of pressure on a team. So this Pittsburgh team is in a must-win situation. They're not a very good team. And although Rudolph the Great Reindeer had an excellent game against Seattle, all that means is it's time for him to have a bad game. He's not a great quarterback. He's a third-string quarterback that will never have much of a career, and there's no reason for us to gamble on him having 2 outstanding games in a row. Look, I can't provide any stats or data on this game. Here we have a team playing most of their backups, but we see this every single year. Must-win games played by mediocre teams end up being losses. I can still lose. Keep it in a field goal. That's what we want. We're taking the Ravens here, +3.5, and we're going to throw a small amount on the money line, as Week 18 is where Pittsburgh's season comes to an end. Now, before we get into the remaining 3 games, I do want to make mention, thank you guys all for watching this show throughout the year. We had an incredible year on this show. Last week, we went 4-2. Our total record combined is 86 wins and 70 losses. That's 55% win rate. If you guys hit 55% in any sport over any period of time, betting -110, you are going to make a ton of money. I'm really proud of this show. I'm proud of what we've done this year, and I'm appreciative that you guys log in to watch the show week in and week out. Let's get to our next game. Houston going into Indy, a must-win game for both teams, but only one will come out the victor. What a game this should be. Win and in, lose and out. What are we going to do? We're going to play Houston on the money line here. I've said all year that I think something special is happening in Houston, and although I don't think they are bowl contenders, they are going to win this game and likely play their asses off in the playoffs. If they get Jacksonville, they might even sneak out a playoff win. When you look at these teams, Indy has scored 1 more point on average than Houston. But keep in mind, CJ missed a bunch of games. Yes, I know Minshew is Indy's backup, but he's the guy playing this Sunday. And if CJ didn't miss those games, this Houston offense would be way ahead of Indianapolis. Even with CJ out a few games, they have the 7th best pass numbers in the league, way ahead of Indy. They are 10th in yards gained, 10 more yards per game than Indy. And just for the record, Indy's really bad stopping the run. I think Singletary is going to have a huge day. I would look to take him over the total in rush yards. Defensively, Houston has allowed 21 points per game scored on them, while Indy is the sixth worst in this category, allowing 24 and a half against them. So here we have a situation where I think Houston has the better offense. I know Houston has the better defense. I think Houston is the better team. And I think at a pick 'em situation, all the marbles on the line, Houston gets it done. I think Houston is young enough to not feel the pressure of this game. I think they know they're playing with house money. I think this game will be close, damn close. But we're going to take Houston on the money line. Now we turn our attention to Minnesota, playing Detroit. The line was +3 for Minnesota. There are now 3.5s all over the place. What a mess the refs made of the Lions game last week against Dallas. Honestly, if there was ever a time a league should override a final result, that would be it. The Lions down by 7 with no timeouts, very little time on the clock. What did they do against a good Dallas defense? They marched all the way down the field and they won the actual game. Well, there was 23 seconds left on the clock and maybe Dallas could have found their way to a field goal. But ultimately, from my perspective, they won the game. Then the refs showed up, took that win away. That loss, cost the Lions a shot at the number 1 seed, albeit an unlikely shot, but they would have likely have been the number 2 seed. Now, they're playing for a playoff game. I think the Lions play their starters here. I think the Lions want to get rid of that awful taste in their mouth. I think they want to go out and destroy the Vikings and get that groovy feeling going again as they enter the playoffs. Basically, the Lions have nothing to play for, but guess what? Nor do the Vikings. And frankly, I think the Lions do have a lot to play for. When you are changing the culture of the team, you go out and win. When you have a really bad taste in your mouth, you rinse it with a throttling of your next opponent. Detroit's biggest issue is their D, but I don't think that's a huge factor when playing the anemic Vikings offense. These two teams did meet 2 weeks ago in Minnesota. Detroit won 30-24. I don't think this game will be that close. So long as the starters play for Detroit, this game will be a total blowout, and I think Detroit wins by 3 scores. Minnie just wants their season over, guys. Minnie is done. They're going to lay down and die this Sunday. Give me the better team at home, pissed off, and ready to go. With that said, look to bet Detroit in the first half here, guys. As well, if they're up big, they might pull their starters in the second half. Either way, we're going to play the Lions -3.5 against Minnesota. Before we get into our last game, an important game, I just want to mention that if you guys are not following my hockey and basketball, I give up. I mean, we all love money. And last year, I made 125 units of profit in college basketball and NBA combined. This year, I'm up well into the double-digit units of profit in both college basketball and NBA combined as well. I'm known as one of the best NHL bettors on the planet. I'm up big in NHL, double-digit profit again so far this season. And I'm rolling right now in those 3 sports. So please, grab a month all-access pass and let's all win together. Makes it so much more fun for me. Okay, Atlanta, New Orleans. Atlanta is +3 here. The total is 42.5. New Orleans, they do not have destiny in their hands Sunday. And no matter what, we'll need the Bucks to lose or the Bucks to win and Seattle and Green Bay to lose to make the playoffs. With that said, regardless of all potential outcomes, one thing we know is if the Saints don't win, they're not going to make the playoffs. This team is at home. They've won 3 of their last 4. They also played outstanding against Tampa Bay and should be coming into this game feeling like they have a shot. As for the Falcons, this team is reeling. They have no idea who their QB will be. And with the playoffs in sight, they go to Chicago. And what did they do? They laid a freaking egg. Like Minnesota, I think this Falcons team have called it a day. They just want the season over and done with. They got close, they showed improvement, and now they stink. New Orleans is a veteran team, guys. Carr, Kamara, Johnson. Half their defense are veteran guys. They all understand the magnitude of this game. Throw all the stats out of the window, even though this is a must-win for New Orleans. And I don't like taking must-win teams in the spot. I just think as a veteran team playing against a crappy team, this is a good spot for the Saints. Like the Detroit game, I also would like you guys to take the Saints in the first half here, but I am on the Saints -3 for the entire game. That's it for the NFL Presidential Address. There is no part 2. Shout out to all of you guys. What a pleasure it's been to do this video. We will be doing this again next year. We're going to change the format a little bit, but we got a lot of time to discuss that and think it through. It's been a lot of fun. Please make sure to play my basketball and NHL as we move forward. I will make money for you guys. Thanks for watching. Lots of love. Happy New Year to everybody. And the NFL Presidential Address will see you next August.